Hej och hjärtligt välkomna till Investerarafton Special. Idag ska vi presentera 4 investeringsmöjligheter listade på den kanadensiska marknaden. Eftersom dagens bolag är engelskspråkiga så kommer vi att fortsätta på engelska. Hello, welcome, and if you tune in to Investerarafton Special from Canada, a good morning to you. As always, if you watch this live, you can use the possibility of interacting with the management. Feel free to ask your questions during respective presentations, and we will deal with the questions at the end of each presentation. You can use either English or Swedish in the comment line. Investerarafton Special is a cooperation between Investerarafton.se and Scandinavian Alliance. Scandinavian Alliance is a full-service company expert and such can connect any company to the Scandinavian and or Northern European markets and its financing. For more information, please go to scandinavianalliance.com. And this broadcast is brought to you via Investerarafton.se, Direkt Studios and Facebookgruppen Aktier. Today's theme, mining, is a fascinating space, not only for the fact that almost everything around us comes from mining, but also because of the possibility of literally striking gold when you invest. First out is Lorenzo Gold, founded in 2018 and exploring the rich findings of copper and gold in Chile. So without further ado, I will turn to Ken Booth, CEO of Lorenzo Gold. Hello and good morning, Ken. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Am I coming through okay?
Yes, you are. Excellent. Well, please take us through your presentation.
Okay, well, thank you very much, and Carlo, and thank you for hosting this today. To everyone that's online, hello, good afternoon. I'm assuming for the people in Europe, good morning for everybody else here on the North American side. And thank you for attending today's presentation. As Carlos said, my name is Ken Booth. I'm the president and CEO of Lorenzo Gold Corp. By way of background, I'm a geologist with a business degree, and I've been involved in mineral exploration and mining finance for the past 37 years. As an explorationist, I've been involved in mineral exploration and operating mining companies working in Chile, mostly South America, Mexico, Canada, and Alaska. Lorenzo, as Carlos said, we've only been public for less than a year, and we were formed in 2018 as a private company, and we were spun out in 2020, or became public in 2020 through a spin-out of a company called Lithium Chile, which I think you're going to hear later today. Lorenzo has 3 100% owned properties in Chile, and we're primarily exploring for large-scale copper-gold porphyries. Lorenzo's focused. We've got a very experienced and committed management team and directors, and we're quite excited about our prospects. So I'll launch into the presentation now. On the title page here, that is a picture of our flagship key property, which is Salvadora. Salvador is located at relatively low elevation for Chile. If you're aware of the mountainous regions of Chile, we're at a good location. And as we say there, we're exploring for large-scale copper-gold porphyry, but we do have a high-grade gold property as well. The next slide here is our forward-looking statement slide, cautionary tale slide. Leave that up for a few seconds. So Lorenzo Gold, the highlights. So we're exploring in one of the most prospective large-scale copper-gold porphyry projects in Chile. As I mentioned, that's Salvadora. The good thing is we own 100% of it. We owe no money to anybody, and we have no NSR on the project. Relatively underexplored gold trend as well, and the property itself has not seen a lot of drilling, and we are in the process of permitting our upcoming drill program. For high grade, we have the Nankawa property. That's an epithermal gold target, again 100% owned, and on the property we've got mapped and known 6 linear kilometers of vein systems. And just this year, we acquired our 3rd property called Punta Alta, again 100% owned. It's a copper-gold porphyry target, but we also have historical vein-style copper-gold, silver-cobalt mineralization. As I mentioned, experienced management team. I've been doing this for the past 37 years. And we've got a good board of directors with capital markets and technical experience. The nice thing for us as well is we've got our exploration team based in Chile, and our VP of exploration has been living and working in Chile for the last 27 years. So very good experienced team down there. Quickly on the capital structure, we've got about 49 million shares outstanding, options about 4.9 million. We have very few warrants outstanding, so you can see they're fully diluted. We're sitting at about 42.5 million shares. And through the going public transaction, management and some other related parties have their shares escrowed. So out of that 49 million shares, about 12.4 is escrowed. Some of it has come off. Recently, about 800,000 cash right now. We do owe $1 million to our former parent company, I guess, Lithium Chile, but very friendly to us, and that doesn't come due for another year. So we've got time for to either restructure or repay that. Here's the three properties. You can see where they're located within Chile. I'll start at the top there. That is Salvadora. It's within, I guess, what is called the Andean Mega Porphyry Copper Belt. The reason it's called mega is because the deposits within this belt are some of the largest copper deposits in the world. As you know, Chile is the world's largest producer of copper. And one of those mines, El Salvador, which has been running since the 1950s, we're 15 kilometers away from that. That is a plus 1 billion ton copper deposit. So as they always say, when you're hunting for elephants, it's always good to be where elephants are. We're definitely an elephant country here. As I said, the El Salvador mine started production back in 1956. It's got a very nice grade, plus 1% copper with gold. And you can see some of the numbers there for the billions of pounds of copper and ounces of gold. As we move south, Punta Alta, located more towards the coast, and as I said, holds a potential for both copper porphyry, but also high-grade copper, silver, cobalt, and gold in veins. And it shows a lot of similarities. It's early days. But again, similar to the Candelaria mine owned by Codelco, and that is a billion-ton deposit as well. And a little bit different than the two other ones I just mentioned is Nankawa. That's further south of Santiago. It's a high-grade epithermal, so basically gold, silver, and veins, but very nice gold and silver grades. And I will show you some of those a bit later. So I'll begin with Salvadora. As I mentioned, it is our flagship, or that's our key property. The map on the right, or the picture on the right, is showing our property in red outline there. The arrow is indicating that we're about 15 kilometers away from the El Salvador mine. So that mine, as I say, has been running since 1956. There is a smelter complex close by called Puerto Rios, and that was found in the 1920s, and that's where the El Salvador ore is shipped. So we've got fantastic infrastructure here, but again, the real key takeaway from this slide is we're 15 kilometers away from a billion-plus ton copper deposit open pit. A lot of the geological similarities are there between our property, Salvador, and the El Salvador mine, and that's key when you're looking for the next deposit. As I mentioned, we've done limited drilling on our project. It's close to 88 square kilometers, or close to 9,000 hectares. We've only done 13 diamond drill holes. And for a property like this, and for this type of target, that's very, very small amount of drilling, only 1,800 meters. So what we're leading to here is a drill program in early 2022. And we've started the drill permitting process, and we don't foresee any problems getting that permit. A little bit more on Salvador. As I mentioned, it displays key characteristics of a porphyry system. And what is it? Well, geology obviously is key. We have that. We've got the intrusive rocks. Alteration is key. That means you've had the fluids coming through and changing the original rock. Those fluids have the minerals. And we have the mineralization, and I'll run through some of that for you. So we've got three basically porphyry style alteration systems. So it's not just one on the property. As I mentioned, it's a large property. The geology we've done, mapping by us, San Lorenzo, confirms that the rocks are favorable. Alteration, again, this is really key for porphyries, and I know a lot of people on the call are probably not technical, but again, we as geologists, when we're looking at these systems, you can have basically a beautiful intrusive rock, but if there's no alteration, there's probably going to be no mineralization. We see that we've got the proper alteration for these type of porphyry deposits. Lastly, mineralization. I'm going to talk about some of the drilling we've done, but just as an example, we had some outcrop and samples from boulders from three of the zones that gave us 0.14% copper to 2.7% copper and up to 0.3 grams gold. So typically in Chile, what you're looking for is anything that's running 0.5% copper and 0.25 to 0.5 grams gold. So we already have evidence on our property that we've got those type of grades. Continue with the mineralization. Again, there's our property outline in green there. Limited drilling, as I said, we've done has confirmed that the surface copper and gold is in drill holes. We've got these numerous prospects and old workings. Some of the samples from some of the old workings, and again, this is all putting the picture together for us. So it's again the surface mapping, the sampling, and the drilling. I'll get a little bit into the geophysics here as well. But you can see some of those grades at the bottom left of that slide there where we're running up to 15% copper. And I'm not saying that's what's going to be in drill holes, but again, you have to understand here that there's a lot of mineralization in this property, a lot of mineralization that we've uncovered here and sampled. And again, it goes to the end goal of a very highly charged mineralized system, which again, we're seeing here both on surface and in drill holes. My picture on the screen in the lower left, lower right, I guess it is, that's the same picture I'm showing here. And for scale, that pickup truck, you can see there's a power, high voltage power tower there. So as I said, we've got beautiful infrastructure here. That is basically showing the type of alteration that you would expect in these type of systems. And again, you can see the green rock in the upper left of that picture, but it's really sort of this leach cap, which again is just giving us further evidence, and it's all building the story that this is a really well-endowed property with respect to its alteration and mineralization. As I said, we're 15 kilometers away from the El Salvador mine. Now, what's interesting over there, their mine, billion-ton plus deposit, only occupies about 25% of their 2 square kilometer alteration system. We have probably close to 2 square kilometers or more. So again, what I'm trying to give here is a similarity. We've got a billion-ton ore deposit 15 kilometers away. Their deposit only occupies 25% of their 2 square kilometer alteration system. We have a plus 2 square kilometer alteration system on our property. So again, lots of potential here on our property. We've got 2 areas that have half a kilometer to 0.8 square kilometers of surface copper at the TAZ zone. The CMZ zone is about 8 square kilometers and has good copper in soils and streams. So again, lots of potential, lots of target areas to go for. So in addition to the mapping, sampling of both rocks and soils and streams, we have completed a magnetometer survey, which is a very important tool for explorationists. It identifies structures. We've also commenced an induced polarization survey. And again, the induced polarization survey is the one for these type of deposits that's very helpful. These are all surface programs. And again, what I'm going to show you here on this map is the lower left picture there. The nice colors for us are great as explorationists. It's basically showing chargeability highs. And what that has produced for us is the fact that the ground has a lot of metal in it. We don't know if it's all copper bearing, but it has metal in it that basically is showing that there's a good concentration there. So again, we're just finishing off our IP survey. When we get that, that'll help us identify our targets. Just very quickly, some of the drilling we've done. We've done the 13 holes, 2,700 meters. I mentioned 1,800 meters before. That's because only 1,800 meters has been done into those high chargeability areas. And just to highlight some of the grades here, which are very, very important for porphyry deposits, we have 156 meters, which is very good, 0.28% copper, and about 0.08 gold. And again, that's important because now you're starting to talk those big widths that put together the big tons. So again, nice meters there. We need to get the grade up. I'm going to go on to the next page here, which is our second property. This is Nankawa. This is one we've had for a while, and totally different than Salvador. We own 100% of it, 1,200 hectares. You can see very low-lying area, very easy to do exploration here. Again, the target is high-grade gold in veins. These things can be very profitable. You can build up ounces fairly quickly. And at these type of grades down here, when you're getting in 4 different target zones, 3 to 50 grams gold per ton, 10 to 55 grams per silver over 1.5 to 3 meters, that's very, very good. Strike lengths and surface outcrop 100 to 250 meters. So you can see these orange lines over here. Those are the veins that we've been able to trace on surface. So we really like this one. Again, it's going to be high grade, and hopefully we can build up the ounces fairly quickly here once we get back in there mapping, sampling. And again, a bit closer view here. These red lines here are the veins. You can see this little area here. It doesn't show up well, but that is visible gold. And that's 50 grams per ton, which would be 1 2/3 ounces of gold. At today's prices, that's worth over $2,500 US per ounce. So very good property, smaller, and very easy exploration here. Our third property, the one that I said that we recently acquired, we own 100% of that as well. 2,000 hectare property, so a good sized property. You can see that here on the map in the red outline. It's located in central Chile, very accessible with from paved roads on gravel roads. We haven't done a lot of work here. It's been known for years. It's in a very productive area. As I say in my fourth point here, the same regional and structural setting as the historic Carrizal Alto and Cobaltera mining camps. These have been running for over 100 years. So 5 known vein systems on the property, and we've just sort of started our field work here. You can see the lower left picture here. That is one of the old workings. We've done our first phase reconnaissance program. We did mapping and sampling of the veins and soils, and you can see some of the highlights here. Gold. Okay, thank you. We've got gold grades of 33.5 grams per ton. You can see that here. These are all our samples, copper grades of 2.1% copper. Some of these structural trends that go through here are 300 to 800 meters wide. So again, it's got both high-grade gold, silver, cobalt, and vein potential. But again, the real upside here is this could be sitting on top of a very large porphyry system like Candelaria. So quickly, I'll go over the team. I mentioned myself. I guess I'm 2 years older now. So I've got 37 years experience as an exploration geologist, MBA, worked for 2 investment banks. I've been doing mineral exploration and mining finance for quite a long time. Key member of our management team, he's also a director, is Terry Walker, our VP of exploration. And now Mr. Walker has been living in Chile for over 27 years, lives in La Serena, so it's great to have him down there because it just makes it that much easier to run our programs. Al Krunji and Kevin Baker are two directors. Mr. Krunji has been involved in exploration and development, both in the oil and gas and mineral exploration sector for over 30 years. Kevin Baker, a lawyer by background, but he's run several high-profile public companies, both in the oil and gas sector and non-oil and gas sector. So again, good, strong management team. And our CFO, John Aoshi, CPA, chartered professional accountant. And he's been involved in oil and gas exploration, mineral exploration for a long time. So small team, but very experienced, and we're definitely committed as management and directors. Probably owns close to 11 million shares of the company. So we own about 25% of the company. So in summary, why invest in San Lorenzo? First and foremost, the projects. We've got 3 highly prospective properties. They're all wholly owned. Salvador, as I mentioned, has the potential to host a large tonnage copper porphyry. We sit 15 kilometers away from a world-class deposit, Nankawa. Much different, much smaller, but can be very, very profitable for us if we can put together some ounces. Punta Alta, again, early days for us, but again, has good potential, and the 3 projects are relatively underexplored. Now, the good thing for us, we're exposed to copper and gold, and my belief, we've seen it over the last 18 to 24 months, copper's performed very well. I think it's going to perform even better as we come out of COVID in 2022, hopefully. And gold, I think with inflation hitting us and will continue, I think gold will be there. Share structure. 49 million shares, 25% owned by management directors. You get in early. Our market cap's only 5.5 million. I can't find another copper exploration company that has the type of properties we do that's got this low market cap. You're going to get good news flow. We've got 3 properties, so you're not going to be waiting around for a couple of months to have news. And lastly, the team, as I mentioned before, we're highly committed. We own a lot of shares, and we've got some good experience. So thank you very much again for attending, and I'll pass it back to Carlo for any questions that might be out there.
Well, thank you, Ken. Very interesting and should be very exciting to follow San Lorenzo Gold. I have one starting question here is really with the experienced management team, not only on mining and the geological side, but also on the financial side. For us, not so knowledgeable in investing in gold exploration, what kind of metrics would you like the market to focus on? Would it be a multiple on the cash flow, or what shall we look for when we look at San Lorenzo Gold?
Yeah, that's for small cap exploration companies, Carlo. It's you know, a lot of those traditional metrics that you'd apply to a producing company like a Boliden or companies like that that have profit, that have cash flow. Those metrics don't apply to companies such as San Lorenzo. I think more what people look for is 2 things. I call it the jockey and the horse. So the jockey would be the management team and directors, and you have to have confidence in those people. And I think I've laid out that we've got a very strong management team and directors. On the horse side, it's the projects. And so because we don't have those metrics, because we don't have any resources yet, either on the copper side or gold side, it really comes down to looking at the prospectivity of the properties. And so, as I mentioned on the previous slide, getting in early at a 5.5 million Canadian market cap, I look at the valuation as low. I can't quantify it for you. I can only qualify it and just say that with the properties we have, with the management team, the experience we have, I would just say that valuing this, we're valued way too low for the assets we have.
Thank you for that. That's makes perfect sense, and considering the closeness to previous and proven assets, it's just deliverance. Then I take. So, what key factors make you confident that you will have success at Salvador?
Yeah, no, good question. So as a geologist and having worked in corporate finance and investment banking and have been doing this for 37 years, I've seen many different projects, whether they be producing assets or exploration. And when I joined San Lorenzo and was looking at their assets at the time, Nankawa and Salvador, and I've been down and I visited Salvador. As a geologist, it has all the necessary elements, Carlo. And as I laid out in my presentation, putting aside for now, we're 15 kilometers away from a 1 billion ton plus mine. It's got those ingredients. It's got the geology. As I mentioned, it's got the porphyry systems. it's got the alteration, and I wish I could sort of somehow bring out the alteration and get the audience as excited as I am by the fact that these fluids have come through and altered the rock dramatically, and that's what you want to see here. But it's then on top of that, we actually have the mineralization. So we're not just guessing, do we have copper and gold here? We've sampled on surface, we have the copper, we've got the gold. And luckily for me, we've got 1,800 meters of drilling. And as I said, we've got one hole that ran 156 meters of 0.28% copper. That's not ore grade yet, but that is a very anomalous drill hole. And we think with this next round of drilling, we'll be able to unlock the potential of the property. So I just think that for Salvador, which is our key property, all the necessary key elements are there, to make this a success.
And would it be fair to say that it's news flow from Salvador that the market should be looking for?
I think news flow from Salvador, definitely, because really we have the induced polarization geophysical survey to complete. After that, Carlo, we are going drilling. So yes, it'll be a very robust drill program. We're going to look to do multiple holes, quite a few meters. We're going to target 7,000 to 8,000 meters here. So the news flow primarily out of Salvador, but we also do have Punta Alta and Nankawa that will also provide news to shareholders, and I think some exciting news as well.
And you mentioned about the Chilean exploration staff, and I take it it's a local staff. How do you find the people, and how do you keep them?
Yeah, so we, being San Lorenzo, are the beneficiaries of Terry Walker, having lived and worked in Chile for 27 years. And it's really Terry's team. He put the team together. They've been with Terry for, at least a decade. And I think it's a testament to Terry and also San Lorenzo to provide them with some very interesting properties to work on. And they've been loyal to Terry and San Lorenzo. So, confident that they'll be staying with us.
And if we look at what's happening on the ground here, production cost, components, bottlenecks, what is the situation now when you're moving forward here?
Yeah, I would say that we don't have any environmental issues. Salvador is an area of historic mining. There are no local communities. There is the town of El Salvador, but that was constructed from nothing, 50 some 60, 70 years ago. So we're in a very good area for exploration. Access to the property is good. The permitting process in Chile is rigorous. The Chilean government takes it very seriously for permitting. We permitted drilling at Salvador before, so we don't really see any bottlenecks, Carlo. All three properties are very accessible. None of them have any issues with indigenous communities, local communities, so we're confident, other than the normal mother of nature issues where you might get delayed a bit, we don't see any material issues with completing our programs.
And well, as you have responded here to an ESRI question here, is there anything that will keep you awake at night?
Nope. I guess the only thing that keeps me awake at night is the excitement over getting drilling on Salvador, because that's going to be proof in the pudding, and looking forward to getting going there. So keep me up at night, nothing bad, just sort of more, the excitement and desire to get going on this drill program.
So what keeps you awake at night would be the excitement, really. So if we just to summarize here, I mean, basically you are close to proven production. You have an interesting mix, may I say, personally, of the management here, because you are experts on actually getting the stuff out of the ground, but also you would understand how the market works, which I think is an extra advantage. What would be the next well, what would be the next tombstone, as it were, for the market to look at? Shall we expect anything in the next coming 6 months? And how can you reply to that question?
Right. So I think that, again, the key thing is over the next 6 weeks, we will be announcing some of our results from our geophysical program on Salvador. But more importantly, we'll be announcing we'll be obtaining the drill permits for Salvador. And then, as I mentioned earlier, as we move into the first quarter of 2022, that's really when you're going to see that announcement that we have drill rigs on Salvador. So I would say, Carlo, in the first 6 months of 2022, investors and potential investors should be looking for that milestone for us, which is putting the drills onto Salvador, beginning the drilling, and then results will be coming out over the first half of 2022.
Excellent, Ken. Thank you so much. So in summary here, 2022 would be very interesting for San Lorenzo Gold. If there is, or if there are any more questions to the company, please feel free to contact the company. And Ken, best of luck, and it should be very interesting to follow San Lorenzo Gold. Thank you.
Yes. Okay. Thank you, and thank you to everybody that's attending today.
And with that, we'll take a short break while we connect the next team and the next management, I should say, in the next company. Och som sagt var, vi är strax tillbaka. So, welcome back. Mobile phones, laptops, digital cameras and electric vehicles has one common denomination, and that is rechargeable batteries. Without lithium, there would be no rechargeable batteries. Second only to the government in Chile and the local company SQM, Lithium Chile is the biggest landholder of lithium salars, and here I will expose my ignorance, but I believe that should be salt-encrusted depressions. If technology permits, we should have Stephen Cochrane, CEO, with us from Lithium Chile. Stephen, can you hear me?
I can hear you very well.
Excellent. I can hear you and I can see you. Well, hello and good morning. And nice to see you, and we're grateful for you taking the time. Please take us through the presentation, please.
I'd love to, and really thanks to your group and to your audience for giving me this opportunity to tell you what I think is one of the most exciting stories in the lithium space today. And I hope you'll feel the same way after I go through my presentation. But very quickly, the opening slide here is basically our Argentinian project. This is the Salar de Arizaro, and this is part of the testing we're doing in our current production well test program. And I'll get into that a little further along as we go. Here's your standard disclaimers that everybody has, but really on to who is Lithium Chile. And I appreciate it. You're right. We are one of the largest property holders of prospective lithium salars in all of Chile. But more importantly, right now, we also have a significant land position in Argentina in the Salar de Arizaro. We're one of the few companies that I'm aware of that currently have lithium projects in 2 of the 3 lithium triangle countries, and that's, of course, Chile and Argentina. Our total property in Chile amounts to 68,800 hectares, and in Argentina, it's currently 23,300 hectares. This will give you an idea of exactly where the lithium triangle is. This map shows Bolivia to the northeast. Of course, we have Argentina to the southeast, and Chile runs along the coast. All our properties on this map are highlighted in red, and as you can see, we really extend both the length and the breadth of the South American lithium triangle. Our northernmost property, Coipasa, Aguilar to the south, and on this map you can see our Argentinian block on the Salar de Arizaro. So again, gives us a position not only of being a large property owner, but also we have the benefit of being in 2 jurisdictions. Quickly, this again is a map of our Argentinian property, and why it's important right now is it's because we're currently drilling a production test well. Lithium Chile up until about 4 months ago was purely a lithium exploration play, but the recent joint venture we did in Salta province in Argentina actually allows us to drill a previous discovery to prove it has commercial value. And that's significant because, as you've seen recently, the acquisitions that are going on in Argentina are with companies that are pre-production but have proven they've got a resource. And we're currently in the midst of that right now. This well is actually completed drilling. We're now in the completion phase, and we expect testing to begin of that well sometime before the end of the month. Real quickly, though, this is where our property is in Argentina, the Salar de Arizaro, but only 50 kilometers away, you have the Salar de Paso Grandes, and that's where Millennial Lithium currently has their property. And if you've been following recently, there's a huge bidding war to acquire Millennial Lithium. The initial offer from the Chinese was $3.80 a share. Got bumped to, $3.60, got bumped to $3.80. And this week, Lithium Americas came back in with a $4.80 offer. So it just shows you right now how interested outside parties, particularly the battery manufacturers, are in acquiring these lithium assets. So only 50, 60 kilometers away, we think we could be in the thick of things here very shortly. This is a bit of why lithium has taken off. Lithium this year has been the strongest performing commodity. That's driven by demand, but it's also driven by governments. For the first time ever, we're seeing not sort of bottom-up demand, we're seeing top-down demand created by governments mandating that people change the way that they get around. And the single biggest step that governments could do to reduce their carbon footprint is to convert all the internal combustion engines to electric. And we're starting to see that gain traction both in Europe. US has mandated, I think, 60% EVs by 2030. So the foreseeable future is very bright for battery-driven vehicles and, of course, lithium. Again, this is just a chart showing what's happened to lithium prices in the last, really the last 1 year. In September of 2020, prices were about 4,500, 5,000 US. This is an old chart because right now, lithium prices per metric ton are trading at 30,000 US per metric ton, over 200,000 RMB in China. Quickly, why lithium brines? Well, lithium brines are the cheapest, most pure form of producing lithium carbonate. The hard rock of the Australian miners, some of the miners in northern Canada who are trying to produce lithium from hard rock, it's very challenging and the quality is just not there. So most of the battery manufacturers prefer the lithium carbonate that's derived from brines. And to do that, you have to look at South America, particularly Argentina and Chile. Again, we're just touching on a couple of our properties. It's important to note that we have 13 properties in Chile, one property in Argentina, but all of them look very prospective for lithium. Coipasa, one of our second largest, third largest properties, straddles the Salar de Coipasa straddles the Bolivian border. About 4/5 of the Salar are on the Bolivian side. A fifth is on the Chilean side. We control 75% of the Chilean side. But what makes this very interesting is a Chinese group called the Xinjiang TBA Group came in February of 2019 and offered to invest 1.3 billion for only 49% on the Bolivian side. So they're valuing this whole Salar close to $3.5 billion. We own the Chilean side of the same Salar, and yet we've got a sub $100 million market cap. So just this property alone could justify our current market cap. Laguna Blanc, another property that's very interesting because it's rich in cesium. Cesium is now it's a strategic mineral as designated by the USGS, but it's seen a lot of interest because it's used in 5G networks. So demand for cesium is up. There's only three producers in the world of cesium. Three mines in the world, producing cesium, and they're all owned by the Chinese. So we've received a lot of interest in this property just based on its cesium content alone. Los Moros, it's ready to drill. We filed drilling permits, or in the process of filing drilling permits on this property. Looks very interesting as well. So those are three of the projects on the Chilean side. Moving along now. Again, talking a little bit about the Argentinian project. We've joint ventured with the Gali family out of Salta province. They're a very influential, very highly regarded family in Salta province. But more importantly to us, they have their corporation is comprised of three companies that are very, very complementary to us. They own an assay lab. They own 49% of probably the best assay lab. So it means we could turn around our samples very quickly. They own a construction company. They've been instrumental in building our road and building our drill pad. But the Galleys also own a chemistry company. So they've done 2 years worth of work analyzing the exploration hole. So they have a very good understanding of what the chemistry looks like, what the lithium grades are. That's invaluable to us because once we prove that this is a potential producing commercial well, a lot of the work has already been done. Understanding the chemistry, understanding the process have already been done by the Galleys. So that's a huge lift. That's a huge positive for us as well. Again, the other important takeaway, you need the support of the indigenous communities. Anywhere in the world you go today, you need to have the indigenous communities support your projects. And I'm pleased to say that the Tolar Grand indigenous community are 100% behind this project. They not only have supported it, they're housing our drill crew, but when we began our drilling project, the community elders came out and blessed the whole project. So to have that kind of support from the local indigenous communities is very rare, and we're very proud of it. Again, drilling is done. We're down to 452 meters. It appears geophysically that we have 120 meters of brines. What we're doing now is completing the well in the 120-meter section, so allow us to test, isolate, and test that zone so we have a very good understanding of what the lithium potential is on that well. Lastly, just for everybody there, just a quick snapshot. We've got currently 139 million shares outstanding. We have warrants, 15 million warrants exercisable at 60 cents. Management is probably closer to 50%. Management and key stakeholders own about 50% of the stock. And we currently have $4.1 million cash in the bank, but we will close this Friday, early next week, on a recently announced 60-cent financing, and that will bring an additional $4.1 million into the kitty. So right now we're looking at no debt, cash balance of about $8.2 million, and well, that's getting close to completion. So I certainly see the next 30 days as being very exciting for us. Quickly, just to touch on the lithium market in general, the recent price increase has driven merger and acquisition activity. There's been a number of deals announced particularly in the last couple of weeks. First of all, you had Millennial Lithium, another Canadian lithium company that has a resource in Argentina. They're in the bidding war, as discussed. The offer's gone from $3.60 now to $4.80 of cash. But the second one that happened in the last couple of weeks is Neolithium. Again, another Canadian lithium producer with one property in Argentina, and they just received a $960 million cash bid for their property. So all the companies involved are either Chinese or partially Chinese owned in the case of Lithium America. So it just shows you the demand for lithium in Asia, but also the concern that China has that they can secure sufficient supply of lithium to meet the growing demand. So we think we're well positioned to benefit from this activity and see the next 3 to 6 months as very attractive. Again, just a couple of milestones. Argentina, we're drilling. We expect to be testing here in the next couple of weeks. Coipasa, which is probably our premier Chilean property right now. We would like to be drilling that sometime in the next couple of months. We've been approved. We're just waiting for the community, the indigenous community there, to set the terms of what we have to pay them for our drill program. But we're very, very excited about that opportunity. And again, as we mentioned, Laguna Blanc, we've done some metallurgy on the cesium there, really to satisfy some requests we've had from other companies, just trying to understand what that cesium asset may look like. Quickly, myself, President, CEO, I had 36 years on the investment banking side. I took this company public back in 2013. So I've been intimately involved since its inception, but I only joined them as president in 2017 because I saw the opportunity and really the future for lithium. Terry Walker, our vice president and chief explorationist, he's got 27 years of exploration experience in Chile. Very valuable. He's been key to putting together the property we have. Jose de Castro is our Argentinian lithium manager. 25 years, chemical engineer, started Oro Cobre. He was one of the founders of Oro Cobre, which just merged with Galaxy on a $4 billion deal. He then started Energy. He's currently the one overseeing this well, and I have all the faith in his experience and expertise. So we've got a very good team, both here in Canada and, of course, on the ground in South America. And that is a quick snapshot of who we are. I hope that's a lot of information. I hope everybody got at least a little sense of the excitement that we have right now, not only in the industry as a whole, but obviously in our company.
Well, thank you so much, Stephen here, and I will kick off the questions here by exposing my ignorance here. But am I right in describing extracting lithium as more of evaporating than mining? And if so, the main thing here to produce is really to sit on the assets. Is that correct?
Yes. You have actually sort of summarized it, simplified a little bit, but the primary benefit to lithium in brines versus lithium in hard rock is that Mother Nature has done most of the work for you. Over the centuries, over the millennial, the heavy snowfall, the heavy snowpack in the Andes melts every spring and leaches the lithium out of the surrounding rock. And then it deposits it in these above ground lakes. So your lithium's already been extracted, so to speak, and it's just sitting there in the brines. So the primary benefit of that is twofold. One, of course, is your cost, or primary your cost. I mean, to produce a ton of hard rock lithium, you're looking at about 6,000 US per ton. To produce a ton of lithium carbonate out of brines, you're only about 1,500 to 2,000. So it's significantly cheaper. The other advantage is that more than 70% of the known reserves of lithium in the world are in Argentina and Chile. So not only do you have this low cost producing lithium from these brines, but more than 70% of the known lithium deposits in the world reside in those two countries. So the brines are going to be a significant contributor going forward, and we're just pleased to be part of that.
So basically, if we can repeat that, the production cost is as low as 1,500 per ton, and I would compare that to the price, which is more closer to $30,000 per ton.
Huge profit margins, yeah. And I think that's why the Chinese in particular are so aggressive right now in acquiring these South American assets. Not only the low cost, but the stability, predictability of some long-term supply is very important to them.
And I understand that Chile is opening up contacts for 400,000 metric tons of lithium carbonate production, if I pronounce it correctly here. What's the significance there? Could you walk us through there?
This is a huge game changer for Chile and Lithium Chile. When I've been doing my presentations to various groups, they love Chile. They love the quality and the cost of lithium production in Chile. But the one concern everybody had was that the government regulatory environment in Chile was much tougher than other countries in that South American lithium triangle. So they saw the Chilean government as being, I wouldn't say obstructionist, but certainly more difficult to produce lithium in Chile than other countries in South America. 2 weeks ago, that all changed. Chile saw their position as the #1 producer of lithium carbonate in the world slip to #2, and they're on the verge of going to #3 because of their restrictive regulations. So they announced that they're opening the door. They are putting up 400,000 metric tons of lithium carbonate production annually up for tender. And whoever gets those, they're going to be 5 blocks of 80,000 metric tons a year of annual production. And so what Chile says, we're open for business. And I think they're going to attract some of the biggest players in the lithium space in the world to bid on these contracts. Put in perspective, the entire global production right now of lithium carbonate is about 330,000 tons. Chile alone is now putting 400,000 tons up for sale. So that's a huge lift for us, because one of the things that happens, they're putting up these contracts to produce lithium and sell it, but it doesn't come with lithium. It doesn't come with land. It doesn't come with any guaranteed of lithium. So a lot of these companies that are going to be bidding, they're going to have to turn around and find potential partners that may have lithium assets in Chile. And that makes us very attractive. We are, as one of the largest landholders, long-term player in Chile. We've already had overtures by a number of companies to say, would we be willing? And I said, absolutely. You know, everything's on the table. So hopefully that tender process, the actual tender bid process starts on November 8th and finishes December 17th. The contracts will be awarded January 14th of next year. So all of this is going to happen in a very short period of time.
So basically, anyone who is tendering a contract or winning a contract, as it were, but don't really have the assets, will be forced to seek someone who is a landowner, and that would include yourself.
We've already talked to a couple of our contemporaries in Chile. They've already seen prices start to firm for lithium properties. They think it's just going to be a real windfall to Chilean-based lithium companies, and we see that as really significant to us going forward.
So basically, if I go back to the timeline here, so if all stars align here, when will you see production and bidding here? Will that be within the next 3 to 6 months? You mentioned 2 times here, 30 days, next coming 30 days, and then 3 to 6 months would be very interesting news-wise.
Well, again, if you're looking for catalysts that I think are going to drive our valuation, there's 2 big ones currently. One, of course, is the potential production, the potential resource coming out of our Argentinian program. We see that as we'll have results in the next 30 to 45 days from that program, and that takes us overnight from an exploration company to a commercially producing company. So that's one catalyst. But the second catalyst is really what Chile announced 2 weeks ago, this opening of the country for lithium development. And we expect that to be concluded by mid-January. So really you have sort of November, December, January, 2.5 months. Those contracts will be awarded. Then the process will begin, who do we deal with? Where do we find lithium? Who should we be talking to? And I think that's going to be another catalyst that will certainly drive our valuation going forward.
So the transformational about your project in Argentina would be that you will be a producer. Is that correct?
Potential to be a producer, right?
Yeah.
Production is based upon lithium production is based upon 2 things, and you touched on it because the current method of producing lithium brines is to pump the brines to the surface, let natural evaporation take place, concentrate that lithium brine, and then send it for production. So commerciality is dependent on 2 things, of course, grade. The higher grade, like in any mining opportunity, it's all about grade. And then the tests that we did, the tests that the galleys did on the exploration well, we had an average grade of about 850 milligrams per liter in this structure. That's an extremely high-grade lithium deposit for Argentina. But the second, of course, is flow. How much fluid can you pump out? Because that's going to determine production and production capabilities. And that's what we're testing right now. We've drilled a very large diameter hole. A pump will be placed in it. And then for 30 days, we will be pumping fluid to see what kind of volume and what kind of grade we see. And those 2 factors will combine to give us really an understanding of the commercial potential of that field.
And how will that be communicated to the market? Is that an ordinary press release, or will it be a more of a song and dance? Because it sounds very exciting.
There's certainly a lot of dancing, I guarantee you that. But yeah, typically we would expect to see some news shortly on that well. Being in the midst of this financing, I'm kind of restricted to what I can say. But with the completion of the drilling, we hope to have the casing and the filters run by the middle of November, and then we'll start the pump test, and that'll generate flow rates. We'll see volumes. So there'll be a steady stream of news culminating, I guess, in the final press release, looking at flow rates, looking at consistent grade. We'll get our first resource estimate. So that's we expect sometime between, I would think, the end of November and the end of the year.
Okay, cool. Extremely fascinating. This is a sector that is not red hot, it's white hot, I would say. So it will be very interesting to follow not only the development of the electronic car, as it were, but also to follow Lithium Chile. And as we can see, and as I think that you have described now, is that the news flow will be constant, and it will be very, very interesting to follow. And then again, I mean, it's not only up to you really to deliver, because the market is really looking for assets, and one thing is for sure, you have the assets. That would be my conclusion. Would you disagree, Stephen?
No, not at all. In fact, you're absolutely 100% right. I think we're in the right sector. I mean, lithium is white hot. And more importantly, because of this transition to electric mobility, right? We think the sector is going to stay hot for a long time. But also, we're in the right jurisdiction. I mean, South America is stable. South America has the highest known reserves of lithium in the world and the lowest cost. So, what better place to be than we are right now?
Excellent. I think that was the best way to end this presentation. Stephen, thank you so much. Very educational. If anyone has any more questions, please don't hesitate. You have the address in this presentation. And best of luck, Stephen, and we will be watching this space. Thank you.
Well, listen, and thanks for the opportunity to tell our story. If you haven't, if you haven't got it, we are very excited, and I think the timing is good.
Excellent. Thank you so much. We
All right.
will be back shortly. We will connect the next presentation. So after a short break, we will have Goldline Resources. Så vi ses om en liten stund. Tack. Welcome back. Our next company is building a portfolio of highly prospective gold assets in Fennoscandia. Fennoscandia, as a Swede recently found out, is the geological term for Finland and Scandinavia, used by geologists since the beginning of the 20th century. I will now turn to Adam Zagleski, CEO of Goldline Resources, to walk us through the presentation. Adam, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. How are you today?
I'm great. How are you?
Yeah, excellent. Well, please enlighten us about the prospectus of striking gold in Scandinavia. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Welcome, everybody. Thank you for taking the time to listen to our wonderful story at Goldline Resources. We are building a portfolio and have successfully expanded our portfolio in 2021 and are currently the largest junior company exploring by property size in Fennoscandia. I'll just take you through some very basic investment highlights. As most of you probably know, we're talking about one of the top mining jurisdictions in the world. We've accumulated a portfolio that includes 6 different projects across Sweden and Finland. Our most advanced project is a recently acquired Oijarvi project in Finland, which has approximately 250,000 ounces of gold on a greenstone belt recently acquired from Agnico Eagle. We are the largest mineral rights holder among junior exploration companies, and we went public about 12 months ago. We have Henrik Lundin as chairman of the company, and we have a strategic partner in EMX Royalty, who has an extensive experience and portfolio in Fennoscandia. Again, prospective exploration portfolio, 6 early or advanced projects. Today I'm going to be talking to you about our 2 most important and current projects. One being on the Goldline belt in Sweden called Polarization, and the other one, the Oijarvi gold deposit in Finland. Our other projects are currently being advanced, but we are drill ready on these 2 projects, and we'll be focusing on these for the next several months. Some corporate information. We are a TSX Venture listed company under the symbol GLDL. Our current share price is somewhere between 14 and 15 cents per share. We have approximately 108 million shares outstanding, so that puts our company at about a $15 million Canadian market cap. So what we feel is represents an excellent value proposition from the status of our projects and our portfolio in general. We've had a 12-month high of 75 cents per share and are currently trading, with about 500,000 to 750,000 shares of trading a day. Our strategic shareholders and most important shareholder is EMX Royalty. We acquired the project from EMX, and I'll give you a little bit of history on that here shortly. High-level team. Our chairman is Henrik Lundin, an experienced mineral exploration advisor who's been part of the Lundin Group for many years. I myself am CEO director. I took this project public 12 months ago. Historically, I've had some success in the mining space, having created a company called Caden Resources, which we eventually sold to Agnico Eagle for $210 million. Eric Jensen is a director of our company and also, PhD and extensive, exploration manager for EMX Royalty, over 26 years of experience, and really the project that we have here on the Goldline belt was his vision some 10 years ago that's come together. We've also put together a pretty extensive advisory team, most importantly, through 2 significant senior advisors that have tremendous experience. Louis Thiel, head of exploration for Newmont Mining for some 25 years, and Benny Matheson, an experienced Swedish explorer who formerly with Boliden Mining. So we have significant experience on the ground in Sweden. I will jump into our Swedish exploration properties. This was the original portfolio that we put together here with the help of EMX. These are the projects we acquired on our listing. Most importantly, this Goldline belt is a significant opportunity that opened up in about 2010 15, 16, when the price of gold hit its lowest level, when we were sitting at around $1,100, $1,200 an ounce. EMX, specifically Eric Jensen, identified Sweden as a wonderful opportunity to explore for gold. Significant deposits, significant production, and history of exploring and producing gold for over 1,000 years. Most importantly, you find gold next to or near other producing discovered mines, and this has been our focus. These are not, grassroots pastures. These are significantly advanced projects. Most exciting part about Sweden ultimately is that you're talking about exploration potential of multi-million ounce deposits in a region that is highly prospective for successful deposits as well as cost-effective production. You've got a government regime that is very supportive of mining and exploration in general. And ultimately, we are very happy to be working in a first world country with low energy costs, very proactive in advancing these projects and allowing us to move forward. In 2016-17, when the price of gold was at its lowest, this entire belt essentially became open except for the producing mines. Everyone had dropped their claims. And in Sweden, these claims have to stay in a moratorium for 12 months. So essentially, Eric and his EMX team acquired these projects 12 months and about 15 minutes after the deadline. They stayed up till midnight and they grabbed this belt. And what they did is they created a bit of a land rush in the area. And we grabbed these highly prospective opportunities. These have historical exploration. These are historically defined areas of mineralization. Back in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, the Swedish Geological Survey performed exploration here, and we do have significant intercepts that we are essentially applying modern techniques. This region, this area in general, has had very little modern exploration. This is not like the belts in Ontario and Quebec that have been around for over 100 years and explored by dozens and dozens of companies. This is almost virgin territory when it comes to working with mineral opportunities, that are this advanced. And we've identified and took on these projects as part of our listing. Some of the historical occurrences here back in the 70s and 80s, we're talking about, significant intercepts of 11 meters at 11 grams per ton at 6 meters, 35 grams per ton over a meter. And you've got a lot of glacial work up and down the belt here. So we're seeing boulders with 60 grams per ton gold as well. So we're well on track here. Over the years, we've completed a significant amount of work. Our company went public, but ultimately the work that we've done in the last 3-4 years has been quite extensive, whether it's through geophysics, stream sedimentation, soil and till surveys, historical drill core evaluation. And what you find in this area is you find about a 15-20 meter overburden. Essentially this thin veneer of glacial till that has moved across the area over centuries. And what we do is we complete these base of till drill holes, and we drill shallow holes that help us identify where the mineralization may be, where that rock will be coming to surface. And over the last 18 months, we've performed over 560 base of till holes, some with quite significant results. We are going to focus on the Polarization project, because we are limited with time. Most importantly, right here on the Polarization project, what you'll see is we are immediately south of the Barsele 2.5 million ounce 2 gram deposit. This deposit was discovered by Barsele Metals and is a joint venture with Agnico Eagle. Agnico owns 55%, and that is currently on its way through feasibility. We've acquired all the land to the south through Polarization, as well to the north, and even here on the east, we've completely surrounded Barsele Minerals through that strategic acquisition of these properties at that time. Let me just check one thing. We own these projects 100%. The Polarization project to the south has provided the most significant results and has allowed us to obviously move forward with expected drilling here later this week. We have a 17,000 hectare project with 3 licenses, 3 main targets across this project. And again, we are situated immediately south of the 2.5 million ounce deposit at Barsele. Coincidentally, We have the Feasibility mine here that is going into production about 600 meters south of us. And we also have the Svartaliden mine here to the north that is closer to about 2 kilometers north of us. So these projects are very strategic. Whatever we find here, any sort of resource quantification or discovery, we will not have to put this into production. We have access to roads and simply can take this ore and mill it through some of these producing entities. We have a very strategic position, which I think is going to be quite exciting over the next coming years. And ultimately, I believe this gold mine belt is going to be in play over the next few years, given our strategic land position, the advancements of Barsele and some of these mines going into production. But again, recent discoveries, current producing mines, everything in the region, and a very significant land package. Pawback in exploration to date. Again, we've got this historical drill hole of 35 grams per ton over 1 meter, as well as the boulders. You'll see these 3 main targets. We've got the Hartspun, we've got Bell, and we've got Aida. These are drill-ready targets. We've got, most significantly, what you've seen here is base of till holes. So we've identified through the work that we've done over the years, we've basically identified and have done base of till holes that have rendered pretty significant results. About 15 to 20 meters down, we've hit 3.9 grams per ton gold in the top of bedrock. So essentially our base of till hole has now hit that bedrock. We've confirmed almost 4 grams per ton, which is your average grade in the area. And ultimately, we've now set ourselves up and permitted to be able to go and drill these areas. We also have here in Hartspund, we've extended this target. This is now a 2-kilometer length soil anomaly that we're going to be drilling here later this year as well. But ultimately, this Aida target has presented itself as the most obvious target. Many discoveries in Sweden and Finland have happened with significantly less information than what we have here. We feel we're in an excellent position to drill and move this forward. Moving on, and you will see further news on our exploration plans here shortly, but moving on, given a limited time, is our Oijarvi Gold Project, an advanced stage exploration project in Finland. We recently acquired this project from Agnico Eagle in March of 2021. This is a 100% ownership. Most significantly, we have assembled an entire greenstone belt, and this project sits on the exact greenstone belt that exists in Finland. We are not working in a small regional position. We have acquired a 250,000 ounce deposit from Agnico that was defined back in the mid-2000s, going into 2010. Over 290 diamond drill holes have led to this original discovery, and this is now open along strike to the south, and we have an entire greenstone belt. You would not find this in Ontario or Quebec. You would be fighting with 15 to 25 other companies that own land here. Strategically, we bought this land knowing that over the 10-year period that Agnico was working this property, they had accumulated the entire district. So we now have 2 significant district scale projects with Oijarvi and with the Gold Line Belt. And again, 3 already known mineralized occurrences. So essentially we have an entire greenstone belt, we have 250,000 ounces, and we have over 50,000 meters of drilling that we're working from. Historically, you'll see here over 50,000 meters. The last drill holes were in 2010. And ultimately, we have a mineral resource here of 250,000 ounces. We have confirmation to the south that it moves southwest. We know the mineralization moves to the east, and we know we're moving down into what could be multiple shear zones at Kylmäkangas. For those of you that don't know the recent success in Finland, we've got Rupert Resources that now is I think a $900 or $1 billion company through their discovery of the deposit in northern Finland. We are about 350 kilometers south of that. And I believe recently this week, we even saw Orion Resources drilling their greenstone belt and hitting, I believe, 50 meters of about 2 gram material. Over 230 of our drill intercepts are over 2 grams per ton. We're talking about 250,000 ounces in a very small zone that we've identified that is still completely open at depth. I think it's interesting to note here the strike length of our deposit Just change one thing. The strike length of our deposit is 1.5 kilometers. That is what you would see right here, essentially. And when you find a strike length of 1.5 kilometers with the grades and the consistency of grade that we have, you usually are looking at depth potential of a deposit of at least half of that, if not more. So we've got a significant opportunity. The mineralized zones that we've hit are very consistent in grade. It was quite easy to put this into a resource model. I don't have any of my 3D models available today, but I will have in follow-up meetings. We essentially have defined a first northeast southwest trending zone with 250,000 ounces that is only drilled down to about 200 meters. So we have at least another 800 meters of depth opportunity, and we believe that it's going to be quite easy to extend this to at least a 1 million ounce deposit, if not multi-million ounce deposit. We're talking dense white to gray quartz, colored quartz veins, very consistent. What's interesting to note here, and I think I'll go into it. What's interesting to note here, underneath the lake, the mineralization continues here into this area. This area is over 1.8 kilometers southwest, and we've identified a core, which I'll show you here, that is identical essentially to the core from the main deposit. So we're talking about a discovery that we know is 1.5 kilometers in width. We know it extends 1.8 kilometers southwest. We have yet to test how far it extends here. We also have yet to determine how deep this deposit goes, and as well as how many other potential zones that we have discovered. Again, 1.5 kilometer mineralized zone. Average grade here is 4.11 grams per ton gold and 31.1 grams per ton silver. Highest grade in the high grade zones are closer to 5.5 grams per ton. So again, very dense, high grade zones. Not really too deep from a discovery standpoint. This would make for a very easy operation. Some of the exploration upside defined here. We've got essentially a project that Agnico has spent 10 years doing exploration work on. Given the restructuring and given some of the acquisitions Agnico made, they did not go ahead and extend their exploration work. Their exploration team has identified exactly where they would be drilling next, and we essentially have taken on that project and are moving forward with drilling their exact targets. This is a turnkey operation. We have a very experienced team that is going to essentially move forward and use the Agnico targets that have been developed. And again, you'll see potential to extend this zone 1.8 kilometers to the southwest. So very exciting exploration upside here. We are looking forward to getting onto this project very shortly. Again, short term, what we're planning here is diamond drilling within the OHRV boundaries. Later this year, we're going to identify these targets, which will confirm the step outs and some of the opportunities to the south and the southeast. And we will also be doing some deeper parts of the Kilcamongas deposit, and we're going to be adding ounces. So we believe at what is currently a historic resource, within the next month, we should have that defined as an indicated resource, and we'll be moving that, what we think is a multi-million ounce opportunity in Kilcamongas as well. Here's a little bit more detail, which shows the definition of these purple holes. This is essentially all of the work performed by Agnico. This is where they've set up to drill. Our core resource is in this area here centrally. We are working to extend the deposit to the southwest. And as you can see, multiple shear zones have presented themselves, and we will be using and looking to expand this with a 4,000 to 5,000 meter drill program in early 2022. And just to give you a little comparison, if you looked at this core on the left and you looked at this core on the right, you would recognize they almost look as if they're from the exact same deposit. What you see on the right here is essentially our resource hole KYL 9002. This is a high grade zone within our resource right now. And what you'll see here is SAR 10003. Almost identical core. You would, an experienced exploration geologist would look at this and would assume that this is within our existing resource. That hole is actually down here to the southwest. So what we're going to do is obviously, What you will see us here do is in early 2022 confirm what we're doing here with drill holes to the south, expand that resource, and build this into what we think is going to be greater than a 1 million ounce resource without even testing these other structures. So ultimately, what you've got access in Goldline at a $15 million market cap is a project with a very strategic land position, accumulated many, many years ago, and has now positioned for growth with exploration drilling on both the Sweden projects and the Finland projects. Both of those two projects have multi-million ounce potential. One of them already has a discovery on it, and we're dealing with historically known resources that we're now applying modern techniques to. Short term, you can expect significant news flow, expansion of our team, and most importantly, the announcement of diamond drilling coming this winter and into the extension to 2022.
Shut down the presentation.
I'm back.
Excellent. Well, thank you, Adam. Very interesting. So I will have the first question first then, and that would be a Canadian company with assets in Scandinavia. How did that happen?
Yeah, so EMX has offices in Sweden. They perform all of their European exploration from their head offices in Sweden. And Eric Jensen, as a PhD and experienced exploration geo, identified this opportunity and said, "Hey, this is a beautiful portfolio. Let's list this company." And as a Canadian company, we've got a lot of experience mining in Canada, but one of the greatest places in the world to work is in Sweden, and we've moved to ensure that we are positioned there. So we listed our company focused exclusively on Fennoscandia.
And you mentioned then that working in Sweden as a mining company and exploration company is a positive thing in many ways. Could you give it as an example in comparison with the exploration in more frontier areas?
Yeah, we don't have militia coming into our properties and lighting our camps on fire. We work with the local Samis and have a very good relationship there. We've got a very proactive government that is very keen to move projects into production, and ultimately we can travel there safely, we can operate there safely, and we have offices right beside the Geological Survey that makes working in Sweden and Finland an absolute pleasure.
Excellent, Adam. You need to turn on your camera so we can see you as well.
Yeah, is that better?
No, we can't see you, but we can hear you. So while you do that, I'll just continue with another question here. And then if you can walk us through the thinking behind your recent acquisitions in Oijärvi in Finland. You mentioned that you bought it from the seller who had been exploring that area for a number of years, 10 if I'm not mistaken. Now you're in picture. Nice to see you. Why did they sell, and how did you come across this?
Good question. EMX and Eric Jensen had developed a strong relationship with Agnico, some of their other joint ventures. EMX has over 160 projects around the world, so they've got a very good reputation with Agnico. And Eric just thought it was a perfect way to add to our existing portfolio. And it's more of an advanced project. It's a discovery. We believe this is going to be an excellent story and discovery journey. And most recently, Rupert Resources has built $1 billion company from their Greenstone Belt discovery in Finland. So what better way to just move our company forward a little bit faster by acquiring 250,000 ounces on a Greenstone Belt that extends over 35 kilometers in length. This is an exploration geo's absolute dream to be able to have an entire greenstone belt to build a project on and know where that original discovery is. So given we're at $1,800 prices of gold, everything that we're dealing with is very economic. We're in a very strong position to move this forward. And it just made sense for us to structure a deal with back-end payments. A lot of the payments that we're doing for this will be on the back end, so we don't have to finance a large portion of it until we've explored it and expanded it. And Agnico was obviously working on various other acquisitions. In times like these, they're building cash flow. They just acquired TMAC, and they're focused on expanding their ounces and expanding production in their more North American projects. And I think this is part of a general strategy of Agnico to slowly divest from some of their projects. They maintain shareholdings in Goldline Resources, and I wouldn't be surprised if 2-3 years down the road the price of gold is probably a little bit higher. We've made some discoveries. It wouldn't be a surprise for Agnico to come back in and buy these things back from us. But they could not apply the exploration teams. They did not have the approved budgets to drill these things, and we saw that frustration with their geos saying, "Hey, we've got everything ready. We're ready to drill. We just haven't been given the green light." So perfect opportunity for an entrepreneur like myself to grab it, take it, finance it, extend it. It's a very simple model. 250,000 ounces. Let's build it up to 1 million, 2 million ounces, and let's move that forward with some of the other companies that present an opportunity there.
Make perfect sense for both parties, I would say. But if we then jump back to Sweden here, in Paubecken here, there's a lot of various holdings, and there is mining going on as well, if I understand it correctly. Will there be a consolidation in the area, and will you be a consolidator, or will you be a seller?
Excellent question. We have a strategic land package. I believe we own about, if you look at that Goldline belt, Barsele Mining owns the central piece and is currently owned 55% by Agnico. They attempted to buy that piece from Agnico here recently, but if you notice the news on Monday, they announced the termination of their purchasing of that land. So what I think is going to happen is someone is going to look at Sweden and say, "Hey, here's a 2.5 million ounce deposit in Barsele. Here's Goldline Resources that has the entire belt covered." It would be very strategic. You'd have an entire district in an area with producing mines. It would be a very interesting time if someone was to come in and acquire that Barsele piece. Then obviously we would potentially be in a position to consolidate with them. We could potentially sell to them. And that really depends on how far along we move our projects. The beauty and the most important thing to understand here is once we start drilling, we're going to have a very clear understanding of what the structures look like underground. That is going to be consistent across the entire belt. So the thesis here is learn on our projects early and apply that same technique across all the balance of projects. I would like to advance these projects myself, build this company into a $150, $200 million company before having any of those discussions. And as a $15 million company, we're very early in that discovery stage.
Excellent, Adam. Thank you so much for that. It seems like you are in the sweet spot, regardless of consolidating or being consolidator, and listed in the Canadian market will probably give you a highway into capital should you need that in the consolidation. Would that be fair?
That's a very good statement. We have raised over $7 million to date, and again, with a higher share price, we have about $11 million in warrants that could come into play around 40 cents per share. So we have a mechanism in place to finance. We do have good, strong backing with our shareholders, and with a bit of luck on the drill hole, we may become the consolidators. So thank you for bringing that up.
Well, thank you, Adam. It was a pleasure, and it was interesting to be educated about one's own country, as it were. Any further questions? We will warm hand point you to the company. It should be very interesting to follow Goldline Resources, and we wish you the best of luck, Adam. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Take care.
And with that, we'll take a short break while we connect with the last company. Please stay tuned. Welcome back, and apologies for the delay. We had some technological stuff to organize because we're connecting here with Canada, as you were aware of. Last but not by least, but no mean least, we have Benchmark Metals, a Canadian company with its main assets in Canada and a management team with a long history of creating shareholder value. So without further ado, I will ask Jim Grieg to just kick off the presentation, and we take it from there. The floor is yours, Jim.
Very good, thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Benchmark Metals is a gold and silver development company located in north central British Columbia, Canada. We are listed on the Toronto Venture Exchange, but we are also listed on the Frankfurt Exchange. We launched this company in 2018, and through the course of 4 years, have gone from a new discovery to over 3 million ounces of gold and silver that is at surface in 3 open pits. We have commenced a 60,000 or 100,000 meter drill program. We've drilled 60,000 meters to date, and this drilling is going towards expanding that 3 million ounces towards 4 or perhaps even 5 million ounces in an updated resource. Location-wise, you can see it's in Western Canada to the north of the province of British Columbia. It's in an area called the Golden Horseshoe, which is very prolific for gold, copper, and silver mining. The project is 100% owned by Benchmark. We've advanced this from an early stage asset to over 3 million ounces. We are also in the throes of creating engineering and economic studies for early 2022. There's very big potential here to grow and expand the resource areas, but in addition to that, we see additional targets for new discoveries on this package. The directors and management on Benchmark have an exceedingly good history of creating shareholder wealth in other companies. Benchmark is now our flagship company. Myself, I'm the original founder, a director and president of the company. I've been involved in several big wins, but most explicitly another company called Keegan Resources, where the stock went from 20 cents to upwards of $9.50 in a few short years. And during that path, we raised upwards of $400 million and put a mine into production in West Africa, explicitly Ghana. My partner, who's the CEO and chairman, John Williamson, we've both been involved in numerous endeavors together. One of John's prized wins recently was 6 years ago with Kaminak Gold. At Kaminak, they generated a takeover from Gold Corp at over $500 million. We recently added a vice president of engineering who's leading all of the efforts to grow this project to a mining decision. His name is Ian Harris. Ian was involved with Corriente Resources in South America. And at Corriente, they were bought out by a Chinese group for close to $700 million Canadian. So the pedigree here of the group of senior execs and the board of directors here, we look for large scope and scale projects. We raise the capital to advance them quickly, but we're always looking for an opportunity for a major mining institution to take us over. Just on the reasons to invest in a gold and silver company, as you all know, inflation is starting to cause worry across the world. There's incredible debt, not only in Canada and North America, but in the Western world in general. These are all reasons, fundamental reasons to hold gold and silver. And I believe we are on the path here of a new cycle where you'll see gold break out into the $2,000 range. Location-wise, we call it the Golden Horseshoe because this horseshoe surrounds a basin. On the periphery or margins of this basin is where you see all of the gold, copper, and silver miners in northern British Columbia. The Lawyers Project is located on the eastern margin, but we're only 30 miles or 45 kilometers away from Centerra Gold. Centerra holds a world-class gold-copper mine. In addition to that, Newcrest, the large Australian company, has moved into the region. They're operating the Red Chris mine. Newmont has also made a large purchase. They took over the Tatoga project from GT Gold. This is straight north of the Benchmark project. And then finally, Pretium Resources, they put a mine into production in a short time frame. They're one of the highest grade gold producers in Canada, generating 350,000 ounces a year at an average grade of just below 9 grams. So we truly are in a prolific region. The only difference here is Benchmark is still undervalued, having put out 3 million ounces. We're only trading at about $140 million euro market cap. And we believe in the next 3 to 12 months, there's opportunities for many multiples of growth on this stock. As I mentioned, we're located close to Centerra's Kemess mine. We actually pass and drive by this mine on a road network straight to the Lawyers Project. And what will happen here as we get to a production decision, there will be a tie-in point to the Kemess mine for electricity. And this is a source of low-cost electrical power from the provincial grid. On achievements here, we started this project in 2018 with a very modest 150,000 ounces gold equivalent. And over the course of 4 years of work, we've now updated this to 3 million ounces total. And with this year's work that's in progress, we anticipate going well over 4 million ounces in an updated resource during the early part of 2022. So that's only months away. On our share structure, there's $13 million Canadian in the treasury, 168 million shares outstanding, and we have warrants that are in the money. This will generate another $2.5 million in December because these warrants are due for expiry. We also have another 19 million warrants that are priced at a higher level at $1.75, but we fully expect those warrants at 19 million total to be exercised during 2022 as we hit these major milestones and deliver results. Among our shareholder group, Eric Sprott is our largest shareholder, holding 17% of the stock at a fully diluted basis. And we've also inserted some major funds out of the USA. This includes Merck Capital, Van Eck, and Franklin Templeton. We also have 4 firms covering us for research. This includes some good brokerage firms, Sprott Capital, Claris Securities, PI Financial, and Cormark. Those firms provide regular updates when there's new news, and they provide new research reports when there's a major milestone that's been hit. All of these firms have visited our site, and so they're very aware of the potential on this project. As I mentioned here, multiples to lift the share price. We're currently sitting at about $140 million euro value. But as we generate new drill results over the coming months, that will lead into an updated resource. That will be followed by a preliminary economic assessment in early 2022. And then finally, we anticipate a feasibility study to be completed at the end of 2022. And along this path, that's where we'll grow to a comparable company such as Skeena or Marathon Gold. They are trading at a $700 million market cap. And that's where I say this is a good opportunity to buy the stock because we have many multiples remaining here to increase value. Just a an overview of the total package. It's a 144 square kilometer package, or 110 square miles if you prefer. There's a snapshot of some of the drill results we put out over the years, including 3 meters of 260 grams gold and 3,300 grams silver. Those are the high-grade intersections that you see, but the bulk tonnage intersections range from 50 to over 200 meters, and that includes an intersection of 70 meters of 1.7 grams gold and 1,700 grams silver. In the center of the map here, you see the 3 deposits areas that are reporting the 3 million ounces. But what you have to keep in mind is we have over 20 targets across the property that all exhibit the same geology that the 3 million ounces have. So we believe that in addition to growing the deposits, we will have brand new discoveries. And we have one already that's in progress, and that is the Marmot Zone south of the deposits. This is the 3 million ounces on the project. It comes from 3 areas that are closely or in close proximity to each other. It is grading 1.6 grams overall and utilizes a very conservative 0.5 gram cutoff. Looking more closely at these deposits we have that make up the resource, on the left-hand side of your screen, you can see the second largest area, AGB. The polygons represent areas that we're drilling now to grow these deposits. And we've had another nice surprise recently. The center of Cliff Creek is starting to show signs that it doesn't pinch out. It actually is in a region where we can grow it much more, in addition to the south end and deeper drilling. So the reality here, as I stated, we're not bound at 3 million ounces. This will grow very quickly. Just to talk quickly on the new discovery potential, last week we put out a result of 30 meters at 2.8 grams. This is on a new discovery area. This has potential for high-grade material at surface. We're drilling this right now to define a new resource to be added into the update for early 2022. So the summary here is, if you're going to invest in a company, invest in management who's made wealth for investors before, and truly that's the pedigree of the team. This is 100% owned gold and silver project in a very safe jurisdiction. This is in northern Canada. There's no political issues. There's no risk. It is in a safe, democratic country with rule of law. It's a large land package with more discoveries to come. We've completed 60,000 meters of drilling into our 100,000 meter drill program. Drill results will come out through November, December, January, and February. This will lead into an updated resource estimate. After the resource estimate is published, we will develop a new preliminary economic assessment, and you will see that in the second quarter of 2022. This PEA will show robust economics and a mine that could deliver upwards of 175,000 ounces per annum. So this is a large world-class endeavor that we're working towards, and we're looking to complete as many steps as we can in a short period to get this project into production. So thanks for listening, and I'd be welcome to any questions if you have any, Jonathan.
Excellent. So you need to shut down the computer, and then we'll kick off with a question here. You have an impressive achievements from the management, and obviously you're included there. So how do you keep the management here? Are you always incentivized by the share price?
Yes, actually, all of management contributes on every share raise. Management owns about 15% of the company total. So, we've contributed on raises through every raise since 2018, and we will continue to do so into the near future.
Excellent. And you mentioned the Marmot Zone. Could you just elaborate a little bit about that regarding the growing potential? Is it right to understand that the more you drill, the more you find, or how should we interpret that?
This is absolutely true. Look, we've only started a larger program at Marmot. We've defined a 400-meter strike length, but at this point we know that it's still open. On the surface, it looks as though it could be as big or larger than Cliff Creek, which is reporting 2 million ounces. So the only way to grow and define this is to drill, and we have 10,000 meters at Marmot in progress as we speak.
And you mentioned the feasibility studies, and they will be completed, if I understood it correctly, at the end of 2022. Is that correct?
That's right. The preliminary economic assessment will be delivered in early second quarter of next year. So let's say March, April time period. And the feasibility study is scheduled for the end of 2022, for just over 12 months from now.
And what happens then? When would you be able to start mining?
So we're targeting shovels in the ground at the end of 2024. So we have a very rapid path here. We're a few short years away from constructing the mine. Yeah.
Okay, excellent. And you mentioned inflation here when it came to the gold price, and obviously we have experienced inflation, and I believe the North America is now experiencing inflation. So how does that affect you in your day-to-day activities? Are you experiencing any bottlenecks regarding to inflation?
At the moment, we're not seeing a big impact from inflation, although, on a global scale, it looks as though there's 4 to 5% inflation on a yearly basis. There are some cost increases. However, we're not seeing a big impact at the moment. I think the bigger impact is going to come from inflation and debt affecting physical gold price, which ultimately should have big tailwinds for this company and the share price.
So as far as you're concerned, when it comes to the cost situation, you think you're in control?
We are in control, and we're designing the economic studies so that Benchmark could raise the capital to build the mine. So if inflation causes increases in price, well, then we will adjust the size of the operations to fit it within a format that's fundable.
And you showed us a map over the horseshoe, and it seems to be a pretty crowded place, which obviously indicates that there's a lot of findings to be made and already made there. Might there be a consolidation, and will you then participate as a consolidator, or indeed try to unload assets?
There is an opportunity here for a major company to consolidate several companies in our immediate jurisdiction. This is the first time in 30 years that there's been a lot of activity within this part of the Golden Horseshoe. The company does have confidentiality agreements signed with various major mining entities. And I can say that a major does not want to operate a 15-year mine. Their preference would be to operating in a region where they could run for 20 or perhaps even 30 years. So consolidation does help with their long-term prosperity.
And you showed us a map where we could get a grasp of the infrastructure, but usually any exploration company obviously will point out the infrastructure here. So could you walk us through there a little bit why this should be so great?
Sure. So because this project has a mining history from 30 years ago, we are actually road accessible. We can drive our vehicles directly to the center of our property where we're doing the work. So road infrastructure is a major additive for this project. In addition, being only 30 miles or 45 kilometers down the road from Centerra's Kemess mine allows us to tie into their electricity grid. So Kemess runs off the British Columbia power grid. It's a source of low-cost power provided for their plant, and Benchmark would tie into this and help reduce our operational costs. So there is indeed some infrastructure-related bonuses coming with Benchmark.
So to summarize it, you have access to power at a reasonable price, I would say, and then obviously you have the infrastructure, as it were, bringing in the equipment and out the findings. How is the situation with employing staff?
I'm sorry, what was the last question?
Employing staff. Is it easy to get hold of skilled workforce?
Yes, at the moment we're fully staffed. We've had essentially the same crew working with us for 4 years, but we do see bottlenecks on occasion due to COVID issues. For instance, we would add more drills to the site if we could right now, but the issues with the contractors, the drilling contractors, are there's so much exploration activity happening in Canada that there's a lack of skilled drillers. However, we still have 5 drills operating at site, so we're able to get a tremendous number of meters completed. We are actually looking at adding a 6th rig here short term soon.
Okay, interesting. Thank you for that, Adam. Very interesting. It should be fascinating to follow Benchmark's development here, and as I understand it, next year will be a very important year as regards to reports, and particularly on the feasibility and starting of the production. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yep, some major milestones over the next 12 months, and near term that includes proliferation of a lot of drill results every 7 to 10 days.
Excellent. Well, with that, we will thank you. And if there is any more questions regarding Benchmark, then I'm sure you can just forward them to the company and they will reply in due course. Well, Adam, it was an honor and a pleasure. And I wish you the best of luck. And we should follow your company with a great deal of interest, may I add.
Good. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Yes, and now we'll switch back to my mother tongue, which is Swedish of course. Tack ska ni ha för att ni tittade, mycket spännande, och har ni frågor som sagt var så kan ni vända er till bolagen i första hand och även analysrapporter som finns där. Tack ska ni ha, på återseende. Hej då!